Yesterday, a new teacher emailed me and asked me for one piece of advice for his first year of teaching an AP history class. And out of the hundreds of pieces of advice I could have given him, here's the one I chose. Start your students writing early. So I want to tell you why I said that, what order I think is the best for introducing writing, and a method for teaching it. Now, I gave this piece of advice above all the others because writing the free response questions is, in my experience, the greatest cause of student weeping and gnashing of teeth. Seriously, if you were to stand outside my classroom while I was explaining the DBQ, you'd have a hard time knowing just by the sounds the students were making whether I'm explaining contextualization or restarting the Spanish Inquisition. So the main reason to start writing early, and by early I mean the first few weeks of the course, is because students struggle mightily with it and they need as much time to practice as possible. But by introducing it early, it also helps you as the teacher. If I get my first batch of DBQs back and everyone missed the thesis point even though I thought I explained it properly, then I have time to shift and come at it from another direction. Alright, now let's talk about what order is best for introducing the 3 FRQs. You know, different teachers have different opinions on this, so let me qualify that and say that this has been the best for me. Here's how I would rank the writing for the AP histories in terms of difficulty for the students. So in light of that, in my first couple of years of teaching, I introduced the DBQ first on the assumption that it's the hardest of the 3 and therefore they would need more time to practice it. And for further justification, like if the students can nail the DBQ, then they're not going to have any problems with the LEQ or the SAQ. The problem with that method is that since the DBQ is the hardest, they often did not perform well until at least December, and thus the demoralization meter in my class was high. But later I switched the order and I think this is the best way to go. First I introduced the SAQ, then the DBQ, then the LEQ. And roughly speaking, I'd introduce the SAQ first quarter, the DBQ second quarter, and the LEQ third quarter. Now here's why. The SAQ is arguably the easiest of the FRQs to write. All it requires is assertion, evidence, and analysis. And what I discovered is that if the students can do those 3 things well, then they already know a lot about how to construct an evidence-based paragraph for the DBQs and the LEQs. But that does depend on the right formula for answering the SAQs. So here's my method for teaching the SAQ, and that method then transfers to the DBQ and the LEQ. Everyone has their favorite acronym, and I've used several over the course of my teaching, but I've kind of settled on T. Topic, sentence, evidence, analysis. Now in some cases, this is going to be more than the students need to do in order to earn the required point, but they do need to do more, and I'll tell you why in a moment. So for every letter in the SAQ, I teach my students to answer the question with a topic sentence that restates the important parts of the prompt. This ensures that they are answering the question that is there and not the question that they wish was there. Second, they provide evidence that supports their topic sentence. This needs to be specific, like an actual vocabulary word that they can find in bold print in their textbook. And third, they need to analyze, which shows how the evidence proves the topic sentence. An example from this year's AP World exam might look like this. This is the question, then here's the topic sentence which uses the language of the prompt, here's the introduction of specific evidence, and here's the analysis which shows why the evidence proves the topic sentence. Now again, this is more than the students should have to do to earn the point since it's just an identify question. But what we learned from this year's AP World reading is that sometimes the standards for the point are going to be higher than the College Board says that they will be. So if students are going to get into the habit of doing more than necessary, they're always going to be okay. Okay, now back to the main point. Notice again this answer. It has a topic sentence, evidence, and analysis. If my students can do that on an SAQ, then they already have the building blocks they need for a DBQ or an LEQ paragraph, which is structured like this: topic sentence, evidence, and analysis. You're going to T the SAQ, and then you're going to T the DBQ and the LEQ as well. So that's my advice. Start the writing early with the SAQ, and then use those skills to introduce the harder writing later on. Speaking of what we learned from the AP reading this year, click this video next to see the top 10 things that came out of the 2022 reading that is going to help you teach writing in your classroom. Also, the link to my teacher resources for AP World and APUSH are in the description, so have a look at those as well. I'll catch you on the flip-flop. HEIMLER out.